you say it's a prison.
Yeah, I don't think. My mind is blank. We were taught at school to live in our heads, but before we went to school, we lived in reality. We weren't living in our heads yet. We went to school for 12 years and then maybe another 4 years at university. And what we got programmed to do was live in our minds, thinking and problem solving. My life was way too dangerous as a kid to do that. I had to live with reality. I had to have my awareness around me the whole time, because I didn't put up with shit from anyone, and anyone who bullied me, and there was a lot of bullies in boarding school, got confronted by me. But I had to have eyes in the back of my head the whole time I was there, because these bullies used to like to gang up. And so I developed present moment awareness while I was at school, and I maintained that for the rest of my life. I love being present. I love reality. I don't like dream. It's where people hurt themselves.
How can we work on that? Because you said like you're in a blank state often, or all the time, and
pretty much all the time.
Yeah, what are some of the practices that you would say, that got you there? Maybe beginner level and then more advanced?
Yeah. Watching the breath, which is a standard meditation, just watching the breath come in through the nose, turn, go out through the nose, that works. But I used to do walking meditation. That's where I used to walk along the foreshore of the river or the ocean, and I watched my footfalls, how my feet were landing on the ground. I'd watch my breath at the same time. I'd listen to the surf, and I'd feel the sun on me. Now, when I had my awareness on that many things at once, I couldn't think. Otherwise, I'd lose awareness of those things. And so I used to walk for hours along the ocean front or along the river, what I called walking in Zen. It was my practice of being present. Walking in Zen. Simply being aware of everything around me and not entertaining the mind. Not going into dreamland. I watch these other people walking, and they're just locked in their minds, and it's like, what the hell are you doing out in nature, locked in your minds? It's beautiful out here. But you've got to be present to what's out here, not present to what you think, which is not real. Nothing you think is real. But out here is real. So it also helped training as a martial artist, because as a martial artist, if you're not present, you get your ass beaten pretty quickly. And so that helped too. Riding motorbikes, outrunning the police, you had to be very present to what was happening. You couldn't be dreaming.
Yeah. Okay, so those are some good practices then, for sure.
Well, we're talking about what I did to get out of ADHD, basically, because ADHD is living in your head, scrambled the whole time, and it's nice to be free. It's nice to be with reality rather than with dream. But that's up to you.
Yeah. So the practices, but we also talk about surrender. That's something that I learned these last couple years, getting better at it, let's say for 2 years. What would you say are some of the practices to get into that and to like more deeply?
Well, you've got to look at what surrender is. It's a kind of a death, And when I was very young, I got my C-class diver's license, diving with tanks, underwater tanks. And I used to, off West Australia, there's a lot of sharks. And I was kind of terrified of sharks. And so every time I went out diving, I'd be frightened that I was going to get eaten by a shark. And so before I'd get in the water, I'd imagine the shark eating me and making it okay. So what I was doing is surrendering to my death. And that worked pretty well, because if I surrendered to being eaten by a shark, the fear dropped away, because the fear is empowered by resistance. When we surrender, the fear loses its power. And I used the same technique when I was training in martial arts. I made it okay to be beaten up. I made it okay to be hurt. I surrendered to it, which meant I could go into the ring fearless, which is always an advantage. Fear is the enemy. And so I learned to overcome fear through surrender to whatever I was frightened of, making it okay. And I practiced that my whole life, And as a result, I've had an absolutely amazing life because I have never served fear. One adventure after the next adventure. Like right now, we're having an adventure and it's cool.
Yeah. Silence and stillness.
Yep, silence and stillness.
Follows the adventure. Yeah.
Well, I am in silence and stillness. It's beautiful. It's actually beautiful. People think there's nothing there, but it's just beautiful. It's like sitting on the top of the mountain, looking at everything. It's lovely. The clarity that comes with silence and stillness allows you to see everything so clearly.